And we are live. Please enjoy this track for the next 5 minutes, and I will be right back. By the way, this one's called Red Button, and I will be back in 5 minutes. Please join the chat. Tell your friends. All right, let's cut this down. So this track is called Red Button. It is available at soundclick.com/Golden Cat Productions, my record label. And you can actually purchase a song or stream it. The concept of the song is the thought process behind a guy about to press the nuclear red button and essentially destroy the world. That half a second that it takes them to actually decide to press the nuke button and then press the nuke button. The whole 5 minute and 10-second song is about that. Thank you for joining us, Harry Vaya and Prabhakar and Das Velo. Cheers. Welcome to another day of space weather. We're looking at 171 angstroms, and this is just today from 0 hour until 0800 universal. There's the timestamp. So just today, April 4th. Let's look at some other views. about the magnetic lines at 193 angstroms? There's a magnetic environment. We see coronal holes. And we see some activity rising there on the east. And sunspot 2737 is degrading, weakening and lowering the likelihood of any sort of solar X-ray flares. And here's the colored magnetogram. And you can see those fields are all weakening now. So the likelihood of any sort of significant flares has dropped. By the way, this song is called Vaporizer, a concept derived from the TV show Star Trek Voyager. Apparently they found a planet where half the planet's people were vaporizing the other half. So my colleague and I decided to make a song about it. Cheers. It is for sale. If you'd like to purchase it for a massive amount of money, please email me at smashomash@gmail.com. All right, and here is the intensity gram colored, which I was calling the flatogram previously. I apologize. There's a lot of things that have a lot of names. Anyway, there's a sunspot group. It's probably going to lose its name today or tomorrow. I would suggest today, because that's, in fact, the umbra are almost entirely gone there. Let's look at the real-time solar wind here. If it loads or does anything. And my browser's totally locked up. Somebody's server got vaporized, folks. Not do anything. Are we even still live? I have no idea. And I can't shut off the music either. And control is being returned. All right. Great. And I have no idea what's happening. We apologize for the technical difficulties, folks. All right, here's the real-time solar wind. Put the music back. By the way, don't get vaporized. It's a bad way to end your day. All right, so we do see a significantly negative BZ on the top pane there, and quite a high amount of magnetism there. 6.6 on the BT, total B field. Phi angle at 310. So, yeah, no ongoing coronal hole connections there, and that's a good thing. Solar wind density 10.59 protons per cubic centimeter. And the solar wind just recently upticked a little bit there to 400 kilometers per second. Excuse me. All right. Man, I don't know what I'm looking at here. Oh, we're at solar ham. All right, let's back that up. We had limited time to do show prep today, folks, because we had to get the show out there. Thank you for the information, Das Vela. We appreciate that. I am only able to look at the chat on the phone here. So I have to have multiple devices running in order to do this stream. So here's Solar Ham's. Oops. If you click details here. Oh. So Solar Ham's got the sunspot already unnamed, I guess. Let's just refresh that. Oh, there we go. There's the analysis. It's still beta class because there are two different fields there, but not a lot of mixing going on. A little bit right there. So anyway, that's 2737. It's going to be out of here soon. This track's called When I, and it's available nowhere. It's available on my hard drive. Don't try to get it. You'll be better off trying to rob a bank. Here's the gong too. The sun to earth magnetic environment in detail. I'm trying to formulate a comment about this, and it's just not happening. This data is 2 hours and 2 minutes old, by the way. And still watching that North Pole-oriented field opposite the Earth. Otherwise, well, let's see what's going on via the GOES magnetometer. Refresh spaceweathernews.com. So we see a couple little tiny X-ray flares there, nothing even reaching into the B range. And once again, it looks like we're getting a small little flare during the live broadcast. That's about, what, 6 times we've done a live broadcast and had something happen with the sun? All right, so there's your ACE and your Discover crafts. Here's a magnetometer, and it's not really surprising that we're seeing some spikes there as we see some very direct lines on the Gong 2. See the last frame there? You see we've got some pretty direct lines here. Magnetometer should weaken in this area and then weaken further before crossing this portion of the boundary here, the current sheet. And let's look at some more stuff on spaceweathernews.com. Please load the page. Well, thanks. This track's called Unified Theory 3, and we're going to pause it. Because that song is literally written about the unified theory of physics, and it's from the year 2000. We see a bit of a dip in the X-ray, the electron flux there, but no big deal. And yeah, we call this proton event light because, as you can see on this pane, not a significant proton event. This is usually associated with coronal hole wind streams for you new viewers out there. We see very little charging hazards for spacecraft here. We see some stupid things going on from India, but besides that, auroras are looking pretty average. The F2 ionosphere layer is looking pretty normal. And let's move on to some other stuff here. Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard. Actually, there really isn't a lot to look at. Let's look at the current X-ray flare. How about that? Since one seems to be occurring right now. It's too minor to really show up as anything on this. So not even in the B range yet. And let's look at the C3 while we're here. We see some ejecta coming out of the eastern limb. In fact, that might be the CME we were looking at yesterday, which is very minor, folks. No need to buy a wheelbarrow full of rice from Walmart based on this. See if they've changed the Enlil forecast. No, that looks the same. So nothing too extravagant going on there. Let's move on to the electron content forecast. Actually, let's skip that entirely because it's going to be very similar to yesterday. Next, we'll look at the magnetosphere movies as we do daily, since this data is not requestable. So we let at least 4 hours of each of these play every day, just for the sake of data compilation. Since this section doesn't have a lot going on, put Unified Theory 3 back on. And at this point, we're talking about the unified theory of magnetohydrodynamics, which is pretty much the theory of how the entire universe works. Here's the density. We'll let that play through for you and YouTube servers' viewing pleasure. In fact, let's go full screen. Next, we've got the pressure of the same thing. Thanks to University of Michigan for this geospace model. And I can't stress that enough, folks. It is a model. Earth is in a charging state. We see more pressure in the magnetotail than in the bow shock. And it charges up right at the end. That's that little uptick in the velocity that we just saw. There's a little uptick in velocity to around 400 kilometers per second solar wind speed. And our next tab is, I'm as surprised as you are to find that it's geospace magnetic perturbations. A little birdie told me to cover this next. Just kidding, folks. A birdie didn't tell me anything. I thought it up myself. Because nobody else was doing what this channel does. And by the way, this data is not requestable either. We're hoping you get it requestable, Michigan, University of Michigan, that is. But we are making do with what we have as we are making these videos. Here's a global view. And regular viewers are aware that the South Magnetic Pole is migrating toward Western Australia. And we have two North Magnetic Poles, one over Canada and one over Siberia. So while your compass might point to this spot near Svalbard, there really are two poles. And I would draw them if my draw over software worked with this setup. But it doesn't work as it is now. Deal with it. And now we've got also the latest 24 hours of earthquakes here. And I no longer see a refresh button. There we go. So since yesterday's broadcast, we've got a 4.4 in El Salvador at the surface. This one here, this is just north of San Diego. I was looking at this earlier. It's only a 3.6, but it is in the U.S., so we're a bit of an ethnocentrist here. Milky Way Galaxy team for the win. All right, so we got a 4.3 near Kiska, as we saw a swarm yesterday, including a 6.5 there. It's a 4.2 in Ecuador at depth. Let's start doing a different analysis here. I'll bring up windy.com. By the way, if you want to sponsor cycling, we got a GoFundMe page. It's in the links. But that's not what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do is look at Ecuador. So, give you a little demonstration of how earthquake forecasting happens. And before we do that, we're going to do one little thing here, as they now have snow depth. Snow depth. I love snow depth. And there we go. There's the snow depth. I just want to take one moment to show you how hot the planet is. So, I mean, the globe is clearly warming. The planet's burning up. The planet's burning up. This is all snow, by the way. I didn't click on that. But to make things worse, not only is the planet burning up, the planet is literally on fire. It's so hot. I'm just kidding. It's not really on fire, but here, watch this. Feast your eyes on this. You know, we're very worried about Greenland because we got some snow melt going on in Greenland. I mean, these glaciers are melting. Look at this area here. Look at that glacier. Folks, CO2. Stop producing CO2, folks. Seriously. I mean, look at this glacier. Not that your CO2 emissions have anything to do with this glacier. But let's look at the rest of Greenland just to make sure the whole continent's not melting, shall we? Let's zoom out. Okay, well, it looks pink. What's that? Oh, that's just 9 feet of snow on the entire island. So, yeah. That is your global warming update. Thank goodness for people like me reporting on climate change, because if you were not aware of this, you would not be intentionally lighting fires in your backyard to increase the Earth's CO2 content so plants grow better while the solar irradiance is at a low level. What's that? You don't do that? Oh, geez. Oh, sorry to hear that. We implore you, people, please increase, reduce your carbon footprint. Did I say that? I think I said that. It looks very melted over here, too. Oh, my goodness. There's only 9 feet of snow there. How about a snowboarding summer vacation, anybody? All right, anyway, back to what we're talking about, which is earthquakes. Do we see any lows? How about a pressure map? Now remember, south of the equator, low pressure systems rotate clockwise. So let's animate this. I mean, if you want to predict earthquakes, this is literally how you do it. I'm not kidding. So they look like they're pretty much in the clear there via that deep quake. Let's go back to the map. Chile, that one's at depth, but in the same area. I would not give a further warning for that. Here's another Chile quake at depth. So the likelihood is going to be higher where you see a low pressure system. Here's one in Uganda. That one's just a bit northwest of the African Rift Zone, a very odd portion of the planet. If you're not aware, look up the African Rift Zone and try not to poop in your pants. Here's one in Peru at depth. Here's one in Mexico. 5.1. 34 kilometers north of Taitung City in Taiwan. And yeah, so let's look at that one there. Oh, that's not a depth. Never mind. Let's look at this one here. Papua New Guinea. That's a 4.8 at 184 kilometers. It's just northeast of Australia. So we'll look for lows in that area. Here's today. There actually is a low there. Just kind of hanging out. I'm talking about this one here, by the way. And let's go back to this. In fact, let's put this here so we can transition better. There we go. There's another one at depth in Chile. So, I mean, they should remain on alert in Western South America, but maybe not in the ultra short term. There we have one very far south, near the Antarctic continent. There's a 4.8 at the Philippines, 4.6 in Indonesia. That one's also at depth, and that one is very close to the low. You see the lows right there. If I can zoom that in and make them look similar. There we go. How about that? Not too bad. And that's the last quick note on the list. Let's look at volcanoes. I have to refresh this one. How about some music? This one is called Krankenhaus. Yeah, Krankenhaus. For those of you who don't know German, that means hospital. Because you may have to go there after you listen to our music because it's so good. It might get stuck in your brain all day. For that, we apologize. But that's just incentive to listen to more of it. Anyway, so we've got Ibu, 13,000 foot plume there. Tacona with a 7,000 foot plume. Popocatépetl, not observed. Oh, Fuego, continuous emissions at Fuego. Revenador, sporadic emissions. Sabancaya, 25,000 foot plume. And Planchon Petrola, not identifiable in satellite. So a cloudy day at central Chile and Argentina. If you're not familiar with Zooniverse.org, check out Zooniverse.org, the largest citizen science project in the world. Head there and classify some galaxies. This advertisement brought to you by Real Science. No need to look at this today because, well, let's look at it. Let's look anyway. Let's just look anyway. We're going to just leave this in a default setting. And there's your Stereo A Core 2 Space Weather Beacon. If anybody wants to incorporate those into the lyrics of a song, please email us because we will write the music for this. And there is nothing going on. Incidentally, here's your planetary locations. And that is not loaded right because this looks like a Velikovsky novel. What's happening? It's very, very distorted. Oh, it's because of the moon. All right, I see what's happening. It says Earthlana. Earthlana. Anyway, there's the planets today. Here's the planets in 7 days. Mercury is about to catapult past Venus. And let's hope the sun is not located where it's showing on the map. We're hoping the sun is not in between the orbit of Mercury and Venus. That would be an unfortunate circumstance, I suppose. Let's just move on and assume that that's not happening. You do have the smAshomash.com, and it's totally not built yet. There's also smAshomash.org, and it's going to be, your donations will be tax deductible by the end of the year. Let's just put it that way. There's an Instagram page if you haven't set up Instagram, or if you don't care about Instagram, then totally ignore this. But we even do wine reviews. Look at this. All right, it's Septima Malbec. Septima from Argentina. We're going to do a review just out of nowhere from the base of the Andes. Here's the initial result of the Septima 2017 Malbec from Argentina. Well balanced with hints of raisin and plum. Not too much spice or oak. Some mild vanilla notes. Not acidic or high in alcohol flavor. Would I recommend Septima Malbec 2017? Sure, although I'm not an expert on Malbecs. Yeah, so how about that? A wine review. Another value-added service here at the smAsho Space Weather. If you haven't subscribed, please like and subscribe. We've only got 1,370 subscribers and hundreds of thousands of views. And so leave a comment, share on your social media, and try to get us on shadow ban, as it will be unsuccessful, but it will be a fun challenge. Also, check us out on minds.com. we're trying to keep everything updated, and we actually have smAsho staff also. So if you see somebody posting as smAsho staff on the YouTube channel, that's really the smAsho staff. It's not somebody screwing around and stealing our graphics. I made the graphics. I make all the graphics. And all the tracks are original too. So the music you're hearing is not owned by anybody. We also have a Twitter page now to make it easier for folks to share the videos. We put up basically a music video yesterday, if you haven't seen that. Oh, yeah, smAsho staff put it on SoundCloud. Excellent. See, that's what happens. That's what happens. When you've got too much stuff going on to keep track of it, hire somebody else. Because you have plenty of time. You have the same amount of time. If somebody tells you they don't have any time to do something, they just don't understand how time works. What they mean is they don't have enough money. Because if they had enough money, they'd be paying off somebody to do some aspect of the work and delegating their tasks, right? Dasvello, you purchased a lead-lined umbrella to help against vaporization. Well, that's a good call. It would have done great on that planet featured on Star Trek Voyager, because a vaporization shield, yes. Oh, Dasvello, you're located in Scotland? That's amazing. So you've got snow all around that doesn't melt in the summer? Is that what you're saying, Dasvello? Whoops, we're doing an advertisement here. Didn't mean to do that, folks. My bad. And I don't even know what this is. I got to transition into, by the way, if you want to sponsor our cycling season, we're looking to raise $5,500 by May 1st. And we're going to be riding for the Velo Shop, official bike shop of the Lehigh Valley. Velodrome, that is. And yeah, if you'd like to sponsor the team, email me, smashomash@gmail.com. There are world-class riders, such as Becky Quinn, the owner of the shop. It's also endorsed by Olympic gold medalist and 3-time world champion Marty Nothstein. He also has a silver medal from the Olympics, by the way. And I'm pretty sure he's actually a 6-time world champion. I think some of those were junior world championships. So they don't list those anymore. Anyway, theveloshop.net. If you're looking to shop for a bike, I suggest you do. Now I'm going to bring up some images of the sun here because I got to grab several articles that I wanted to cover. So let's just bring up 304 angstroms. There we go. All right. Now give me 1 minute because I got to find these articles. I got them on the phone here as opposed to on the computer. Tabs are not yet open. All right, Northern England and Scotland. Nice. Thank you guys for revealing your locations. Manuela, where are you located, by the way? I have to wonder. And good morning. Good night, Harry. And yeah. Dasvello, I'm not so sure if it's the end of the world, but we're watching the solar cycle intently for this reason. By the way, that song's called Trance Schmance, and it is available on our SoundCloud account. So if you look at the one on the Twitter page, you'll see a whole bunch of other music that is from me. Some of it does have another contributor, but he's a little busy right now selling science products. A recent PhD graduate. Shout out Sam Afif, otherwise known as Samif, or the Arabian Nightmare. Yes. All right, let me get these articles so we can move forward with the stream. I guess I was predicting the future back in about the year 2003, as I made a track called Election Results Fixed. Not that they were fixed. I'm not suggesting the election results were fixed. I'm just saying I made a track called Election Results Fixed over 15 years ago. And it is a very strange song, is why I will let it play, as I introduce some very strange articles. All right, first of all, let's go to Cosmos Magazine. Because they've got an article about new insights into deep earthquakes. I just want to, I'm not going to leave links for this because it's just too much of a pain, but there's going to be a lot of articles on here about carbon dioxide dips, propelling longer glaciation cycles and things. A lot of ridiculous nonsense, in other words. Galaxies without dark matter confirmed. Well, I endorse this article, but what we're really trying to see here is something about earthquakes. And let me just search for it. I don't exactly know how to navigate this site, but pardon my typing. Here we go. New insights into deep earthquakes. And guess what this lacks, folks? It lacks solar forcing. There is no solar forcing in this. So they've got insight that deep earthquakes lead to stronger earthquakes at the surface, but there's no solar forcing variables, and there's no low pressure system interactions. So I don't understand it. Whatever. If you know how to predict earthquakes, just tell people. And let's just do a search and see what we find for this one. Let's just take CNN's story, because everybody's covering this the same way, and there's no political slant that I'm aware of. So India shot down a satellite. India had a malfunctioning satellite that mysteriously got out of control, and then they shot it down. Unfortunately, some of it shot up. And what I mean by that is that it shot up above the ISS, the International Space Station. And now there are 6 centimeter size pieces of debris, or they're saying 10 centimeter size pieces of debris. A large percentage of it is now above the International Space Station. So if you're not aware of what happens in space, you're traveling at 14,000 miles per hour, and you don't want to encounter a shattered piece of a satellite that's 10 centimeters in diameter. So India did a really, really idiotic thing, and they have now entered the age of the Space Force. Let's play just a quick second of this so we don't get any fair use issues. And oh my gosh, it's a mess. We're going to full screen it, and we're going to talk over it so that it's less likely to get us banned. How about that? Press Information Bureau, the Indian Defense Ministry. Anyway, they shot down a satellite. They think they're super smart for doing so, but it was a super stupid thing to do. And for that, we don't thank you, India, because it's so stupid. Let's take another article here from space.com. This one is about Oh, this is a feel-good article. Excellent. And that's what happens when you do show prep. You will not send me notifications. So Elon Musk is stoked that the Star Hopper prototype aced its first hop. And I don't care about this story because it's just about the Northern Lights over Russia. I thought it was going to be here, but let's see. Oh, there we go. Image of the day. We don't do a lot of sightseeing on this channel, so hey, why not? Great shot. You can see the layers of the atmosphere going on there. Well done. Also, there's some other space news going on today. Which is not this article. Let's just go to the home page. There we go. There are 2 rocket launches, a moon arrival, and an asteroid crash today. And here's how to watch them. We will leave a link to this one, especially if the page loads. In fact, we're going to put it in there right now. I think. There we go. Because we can't leave every link for you, folks, but you'll be able to find it using a regular web search, such as DuckDuckGo, and not such as Google, since it is not objective and it is completely subjective. Anyway, we've now updated the links in the description below this very video, and you can check out this article. So, Israel is landing a probe on the moon. There's 2 launches. One, I don't even know what the missions are, actually. Anyway, there are 2 launches. Here's the links to find them all. One at lunchtime. Hayabusa is going to fire a projectile at an asteroid to create an artificial crater. So there's a lot of space nerd stuff going on today. And there's a link below the video. And I don't think there's anything else. Let me just check one more time. Actually, there is still a lot more to cover, so stay tuned. We got one about active galactic nuclei. Quasar PDS 456 has just done what you could call a galactic outburst. We're talking about the carbon monoxide spectrum here. And this article is an interesting one. So if you're into the most cutting-edge cosmology type stuff, we're talking about a blue shifted tail coming out of the galactic core's jet. And this thing is producing a thing very similar to a solar wind, but at a grand scale, at a galactic scale. So another great article, phys.org. All you have to do is just go to the astronomy and space section at phys.org, and you'll see this article, Giant Molecular Outflow Detected from Quasar PDS 456. You're wondering what that is? It's just a big active galactic nucleus. And it's a very strong radio source. I don't know if that's the right one. Let's see. I have no idea if that's the right one. Could be anything because we had the word quasar in there, and let's not get anything too questionable here. In fact, let's turn safe search on. Yeah. I believe it's an active galactic nucleus at this point. I don't know if we can get an image of this one. I hope it's this. Nope, artist impression. All right, never mind. Oh, here's a great one. Check this out. This is actually showing you red shift and blue shift. Wow. All right, let's not get into the weeds on that, shall we? Oh, man. Still got at least 2 more articles here. Let's go back to phys.org, if humanly possible. We're going to go to the Earth section. And this is the kind of thing that this channel absolutely does. Crowdsourcing speeds up earthquake monitoring. Yes. One of the things that makes our channel good is that we report on things like X-ray flares, coronal mass ejections, sunspot formation in real time. And crowdsourcing speeds up earthquake monitoring. So another article on phys.org you may want to check out. And lastly, we've got this one here, which I absolutely love. It's about Cygnus A, a galaxy I talk about all the time. It's the second strongest radio source in the entire sky, second only to the sun. And it's about 530 million light years away. So let's go to the astronomy and space section. Because the Very Large Array has made a direct image of the galactic core of Cygnus A. And there it is. Don't say we never gave you nothing. That is brand new, folks. That is the second strongest radio source in the entire sky. It's 530 million light years away or so. Keep in mind, we are viewing this through a giant series of magnetic fields since it's so far away. But what a fantastic image of the torus inside of that galactic nucleus. So there you have it. This live stream's got to end sometime, and that time is now. Let me take one more glance at the chat. I have to refresh because I'm looking at this on a phone. All right, we are out. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks especially donors. You can feel secure that your cash is going someplace where it's going to be doing important things. There are some science papers that are about to be presented for publishing this year also, associated with the nonprofit organization. So sponsor everything that we're doing. We've already come to grips with the fact that there's no way we'll be able to accomplish all the stuff that we want to do unless I live till I'm 300 years old. So thanks again. We hope to put out another video this afternoon. If not, there's going to be a big uptick in our video output in the next week. So stay tuned for that. And remember, when you're staring at space, don't drink it. If you drink, stare at space. Just don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may the galactic wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.